first presidential debate gave us a lot of talking points. For one, it really showed me that Jamaica isn't that bad when it comes on to politics. But if you're really listening, there was one great question that came out to me, and I had to do a bit of research. And that question was, who are the Proud Boys and who are Antifa? Yeah, because if you're listening carefully, there are questions asked of Donald Trump to denounce these actions of these white supremacist group, and one of the names that was thrown out there was Proud Boys, and there was another name that Donald Trump called, and that was Antifa. So I did my research on it. So if you never know, President Trump mentioned a far-right group during the first presidential debate, kicking off online celebration by its supporters, and the Proud Boys were told by the president to stand back and stand by. So many persons were celebrating who were affiliated because they see Trump as their white messiah. So this is quite strange, and the thing is, over the past few years, a number of fringe groups have been engaged in politically motivated violence on American streets, and the Proud Boys are one of the major ones that do these so-called acts of violence. So who are the Proud Boys? Let's get into this. The Proud Boys were founded in 2016 by a Canadian-British right-wing activist, Gavin McInnes. The Proud Boys is a far-right anti-immigrant all-male group with a history of street violence against its left-wing opponents. So if someone were to ask me to denounce this group, I would be glad to, because if you look at their history, see, they have a history of street violence. I'll be quite glad. So I wonder why the president didn't outright condemn their actions, but that's for our next discussion. So the group's name, Proud Boys, is a reference to a song from the musical version of the Disney film Aladdin, and members that are affiliated often wear black and yellow Fred Perry polo t-shirts along with red Make America Great Again hats. So that is Donald Trump's 2016 slogan. So a Proud Boy must declare that he is a Western chauvinist who refuses to apologize for creating the modern world. Their platform, such as it is, includes Trumpian ideas, glorifying the entrepreneur, yeah, them glorify him, and they have and love the close the border idea. Libertarianism, where they believe that everybody should have a gun, and they believe that they should end welfare. And you see, they believe that the traditional gender roles should be upheld, whereby woman for stay at them yard and be housewife. So the thing is, they are not exclusively white, yet they have become notorious for violent political confrontations. I think their leader now, or their spokesperson, is a black man, and I found that quite strange. So the Proud Boys and affiliated groups have faced off against Antifa in a number of violent street rallies in the last 2 years, most notably in Oregon, Washington, and New York. 2 members were jailed last year for beating up Antifa activists in New York. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube have all banned the group from their platforms, and members and official chapters have been largely shunned. So Enrique Tario, the group's current chairman, reacted to the debate on the alternative discussion network Parler, and he said, "Stand by, sir. I will stand down, sir." So they're holding what President Trump said as the gospel, and it's quite sad that he didn't publicly denounce their actions or even say anything. And the sad thing is that, seeing that they now see his words as bigging them up or saying, you know what, you have the right, They are going to do that. So it's going to be quite funny what the election is going to boil down to, especially if he loses. So Antifa. Let's look at Antifa. That's the first time ever hearing that word. First. So I'm happy that President Trump actually taught me something. So when I did my little search, Antifa is short for anti-fascist, and it's a loose affiliation of mostly far-left activists. They include anarchists, but also communists and a few social democrats. What sets them apart is their willingness to use violence in self-defense. The movement, which at one point almost entirely disappeared in the US, saw a surge of interest after the election of Donald Trump. They routinely clash with the far right. The group has been prominent during Black Lives Matter protests in major cities and have been particularly associated with unrest in Portland, Oregon. In late August, a self-described anti-fascist 48-year-old Michael Ronell was shot and killed by a supporter of Patriot Prayer, a Portland area group that often marches with the Proud Boys. Both groups are relatively small and can count on at the most a few thousand active supporters, but their propensity for violence, particularly when they confront each other on American streets, has made them a much bigger topic of conversation than those numbers suggest. So, knowing all of this, I really believe, even here in Jamaica, that Mr. Trump should have actually said more than just stand down and stand by. And his words, if you look at their social media outlets and what their spokesperson is saying, his words are fueling their ideas, are basically fueling their movements. So it is going to be quite interesting, especially as the Black Lives Matter movement continues, these race protests continues. It's going to be interesting times in America. So guys, until next time, be good and be safe. And most of all, keep watching what's happening in America. Make for good talk. Alright, so until next time, walk good.